Welcome back to Weird Stuff in a Can. Today we've got Gift in a Tin, Build a Bee Hotel. So today we've got Gift in a Tin, Build a Bee Hotel. This was reduced at Mole Valley Farmers. A bit of a confusing price label here because they show prices including VAT and excluding VAT, sales tax. I paid £6.49 for this. We can do a little bit of price label archaeology here though, because this is a second reduction. This was in a post-Christmas sale. Now we might be able to do some price label archaeology if we're really careful. Carefully. No, let's try from the other way. It's this corner I really want to see. Previous reduction looks like it was £8.57. I don't know what the original price was, probably somewhere around £10, £12. Anyway, let's see if we can get the whole of that label off, because really we're not getting to appreciate the product. Oh dear, this is not going well. Okay, well I'm going to break the video and go and take this label off so that we can properly appreciate the design on the tin. Back in a moment. There, that's better. Now I can do the intro. Welcome back to Weird Stuff in a Can. Today we've got Gift in a Tin, Build a Bee Hotel. So yeah, this was apparently Gift of the Year finalist in 2020. Love this tin. See more at applestopears.com. This is part of a range of products designed to be gifts. Popular on the lead up to Christmas, reduced in price after Christmas. This one's to build a bee hotel, but I've seen others where they're little models, perhaps sometimes play sets, toys and experiments and things like that. Use this easy to build kit to create a home for solitary bees and other insects. Fascinating to watch. Learn about bees using the information sheet. Contents may vary. Wooden kit with glue and full instructions. Recommended age 6+. Right, well, let's open it up and have a look and see what we got. Follow the steps to build a home for solitary bees. Watch as they lay eggs that grow into new bees. So yeah, this is not a thing to build a bee hive. This is for solitary bees. Honeybees are only one type of many different species of bees. The majority of bee species are not honeybees. A lot of them are little solitary bees. Some of them are big solitary bees that either live a solitary life or have very small colonies, sometimes in the ground. But a lot of the solitary bees make their nests and lay their eggs in holes in wood and in little crevices and things like that. So this is a kit to build something that notionally is to help out those bees. It's really kind of a bit small for what it is, but we'll make it anyway. And I'll stick it up somewhere, and over the next year or two we'll see if we get some leafcutter bees. We have got them in the garden, so you know, wouldn't be a bad thing. A piece of cardboard there, I don't think we need that. Maybe that's just to glue on top of to keep things from getting messy, or I think that was just lining the bottom of the tin. Okie dokie. So let's see what we've got. Various bits of wood, a little tube of glue, a little badge, some very small dowels, and yeah, we haven't got any sandpaper or anything. I don't suppose we need it. So this is mostly untreated wood, apart from the roof, which has got some sort of treatment on it. Let's follow the instructions. I will move this camera so you can get a better view of the thing. We're going to build it. Okay, here we go. Let's follow the instructions step by step. Lay out the wooden parts. They're joined together using glue and little pegs called dowels. Okay, so do we have to lay out the parts as shown? Right, there we go. That's laid out as per instruction sheet. 2, unscrew the lid and nozzle on the glue and remove the safety cap. So unscrew the lid and nozzle, I see, and there's a little safety cap that comes off. Yeah, put that in the tin for now, and then, well, it doesn't say, but I presume we put that back on. Okay, this is the base. Apply a little glue in each hole. So we're doing it that way around. So a little bit of glue in each hole. Okay. Push in 4 long dowels and 2 short dowels as shown here. So the 4 long ones go in there. And the 2 short ones go in the front, assuming that is the front. I think I might just get a little bit of tissue. I've had a bit of squeeze out there. Okay. Take 4 wood bars, 2 with holes and 2 without holes. Apply glue on one side of each bar as shown here. So we've got 4 wood bars, 2 with holes, 2 without holes. And we'll just put glue in the middle of them. So like that. Something like that. Okay. With the glued side down, slide the bars with holes down the dowels. I think that might need a little bit more. Glue the other 2 bars in between. Oh, right, so these bars are going in between in the body of the thing. Okay. Well, I think actually just spreading the glue is going to help a little bit there. That's not specified in the instructions, but as an amateur woodworker, I'm using a bit of initiative there, and I'm going to do that. Spread the glue a bit better. There we go. Like that. Okay. Apply a little more glue on the top of each bar. If I run out of glue, I have got more. This does appear to be just standard PVA glue. In fact, this may not be waterproof, but it may not matter all that much once the thing's assembled. Okay. Now slide the first slatted panel down the 4 dowels and push down. Doesn't appear to have a right way around, so it's just whichever way it goes. Okay, push down. All right. Create a second layer with 4 more bars and another slatted panel. So this is just repeat now, twice. So we will just do the same again twice. So solitary bees, yeah, as I say, we've got them in the garden and in the woodland we've got a variety of different species. So we've got some that are leafcutter bees, so you see them taking chunks out of the broadbean plants, chewing pieces out of the leaves. I don't mind them doing that. It doesn't create any lasting damage. Or sometimes just other plants, and then carrying a piece of leaf off, and they push it inside a tunnel, and then they fill that with a paste made from nectar and pollen, so a bit like honey, but not quite so refined as honey, and then they lay an egg, and then they cover it up with, and the leaves are mostly to line the tunnel, although I think the bee larva perhaps does eat the leaves as well. But they make a cigar-like tube out of leaves in the soil or inside a hole in a piece of wood, and then it's all chambered up. They close it with a leaf, do the same again, lay another egg, and so on. And the eggs are programmed to hatch in reverse order. So the bee lays the egg at the far end of the tunnel first, but that's the last one to hatch. And so it makes a whole tube of compartments with eggs in them, and the first one to hatch is the last one that's laid, which is quite clever. I don't know how they do that. But anyway, this will be for that kind of bee, and any other kind of bee that wants to move in, I suppose. And not just bees, some other insects will overwinter or pupate or breed in holes and cavities in wood, and it's just generally a good thing to try to encourage that in the garden, because species diversity, even if it's pests, things that are notionally pests like earwigs, it's just good to have a diversity of them, because the more nature you've got, really, the healthier the garden environment. It's all this big complex web of interdependencies with nature. And so this is interesting. Okay, I see that one's got it's lucky we left that one till last. So yeah, it's a complex web of interdependencies in the garden, and actually trying to control it and trying to eliminate certain things can often backfire in the long run. And sometimes it's better just to try to encourage as much diversity as you can in your garden wildlife, just because, you know, you might maybe not get such massive yields of crops. You might lose a few things to insects, but on the whole, you end up with a healthier garden that requires less. You know, the less you interfere chemically and controls and all that sort of thing, the less you need to interfere. Anyway, right, we lost track of the instructions. Where are we? So we are up to now stage 10. So we've done the third layer. Turn the bee hotel around. Now this is interesting because it didn't say anything about saving that one with that hole until last. But you have to, because that's the thing that holds the gable end on. So it's lucky I did. So now turn the bee hotel around and apply a little glue to the back and the two small dowels. So we've got to do, oh no, I need to do this bit first. Okay, glue along there. There's only just enough glue in here. Right, that goes on there. Okay, then I apply glue to this bit here. Oh, that's too much. Spread that somewhere else. And then to the back. So really just down here, and across there. Okay. And then this bit goes on. But it hasn't told us to do that yet. That's step 12. Push the back panel down on the two short dowels with the hook facing downwards. It does say to put some glue on the dowels, which I neglected to read, so we'll do that. I'm going to move this onto the cardboard because I can see that there's glue dripping. Okay, so that should push onto those dowels. Lots of squeeze out there. Let's just clean that up. Okay, and then put that all together. Right, now what? Now glue and insert 4 short dowels here. Right, okay, so we've skipped a step, hang on. And attach the front section. So turn the hotel around. Yeah, no, I've done that wrong. That bit there needs to be on there, like that. Because it's lucky this is not instant drying glue. Yeah, that's better. And then we just straighten up these bars. I don't suppose it matters too much if they're a bit wonky. The bees are not going to be measuring, are they? Okay, now, yeah, this is a little bit ambiguous. Okay, so this bit about this hole in the front is just really not mentioned enough until you need it, and by that time you've already attached the piece. And in my case, I thought I was doing it right and I was doing it wrong. Anyway, Have I run out of glue? Surely not. No, not yet. Small dowel there, and push it in. And I think it says to attach these dowels like that, but I think I'll put these in before I put that together. Might regret that, but that seems like it'd be an easier thing to do before we actually assemble this gable end onto there. So that goes on. Really, a glue spreader would have been a handy addition here. Okay, that's the gable end. Okay, now we've only got 3 dowels left. Why have we only got 3 dowels left? Am I short a dowel? Have I done something wrong here? No, I'm not short a dowel. I am over. I've got 1 spare. That's what's happening. Right. Then glue in there. Dowels here. I thought we were a dowel short, but we've actually got 1 spare. Okay, do we put glue along the top? We do. So we glue. And that goes on. I assume that those chamfers, yeah, are to join to create the apex. Okay, so that one goes on there. And then that one goes on there. Did it say put some? It did say put some glue along the top as well, so I'll do that. Okay. I don't suppose that glue's going to stick very well on that paint though. But we'll do as we're told. Just a little wipe round. Clean up any obvious squeeze out. Push it all together. Okay, that's mostly the Bee Hotel assembled. There's just the finishing touch of applying the corporate branding. There we go, finished Bee Hotel. Okay, I will leave that to dry overnight on top of that piece of plastic so it doesn't stick to the table. Put the. No, I'm going to just dispose of that, I think. That's a useful little glue container. Maybe I won't. Okay, so tomorrow we have to choose a good place in the garden, somewhere sheltered, dry and in partial shade. You can hang your Bee Hotel on a wall. There is a hook on the back, or place it on a shelf, ideally around 1 metre from the ground and not too far from plants. Nothing will happen until spring, when solitary bees start looking for holes where they can lay their... That's interesting, nothing will happen until spring. So this is obviously... They know that people are going to be making this in January after they've been given it as a Christmas present. That's good. Solitary bees will start looking for holes where they can lay their eggs. Hopefully they will find your Bee Hotel, then lay an egg inside with some pollen balls as food before sealing it off with a piece of chewed wood or cut leaf. If there are no signs of bees using the hotel, try it in a new dry place in the garden. Once it's being used, do not handle or touch. The grubs inside will grow and emerge as a new bee. Sometimes they stay inside for a few weeks, but most stay inside over winter. Okay, well there we go. So, ratings of this product. It's not a bad product. I mean, I think that was a fun little build. It was a little bit frustrating at times. The instructions are lovely and clear in as far as they go, but they were a tiny, tiny bit vague about that third floor panel that has a hole for the apex at the front. So that's interesting. It's just an omission, I think, in the instructions. I can't see it mentioning it anywhere. But apart from that, that was a fun little build. I could see kids really liking this. These things are designed to try to get kids more interested in nature. I'm not really sure that kids actually need any help with that. Kids are generally pretty good at caring about nature, although maybe that is because we encourage them. But yeah, not a bad little product, fun little build. It's all made of nice, decent, reasonably good quality soft wood. The metal tin, I suppose, could be reused for trinkets or bits and bobs. Not bad, I would say. Probably better at the price I got it, because what it is, you could very easily make something very similar to that yourself, just from pieces of wood and glue and dowels, or screw it together or whatever. But as a gift kit, it's not a bad one. I enjoyed making that, and I think a kid of the right age would probably enjoy that too. And activities like this are a good bonding thing for parents to do with their kids as well. So, you know, it's all good. So we need to find a home for this bee hotel, and it needs to be in partial shade. The reason for that is that if you put this in sunlight, in full sun, the bee larvae in there will just overheat if that gets heated up, and they will just desiccate and die. So we don't want to do that. So I'm thinking maybe like on the back of the greenhouse here. I mean, we could just put it like that there, and that would be fine, but it would tend to get knocked over and blown away. I don't really want to do that, so we'll figure out a way of attaching it something like that. And even though the greenhouse does get warm, this will then be in shade. I've just hooked a bit of wire over the top of the greenhouse glass there, and then secured it onto something inside the greenhouse. And then I'm just going to pushing that into a little hook. This really doesn't need to be that strong. This thing weighs next to nothing. So then I'll just loop that through there and then twist it round. And that's just fine there. It's sheltered from the wind by the greenhouse. It doesn't matter that it will move around a little bit. Hopefully the bees will find that and occupy it. We'll check back in on it from time to time in my random stuff series. But I also want to make my own bee hotel, and I'm just going to do a really easy version of that. So here in the woodshed, I've got some big chunks of firewood that are just a bit too big to go in the fire. Now I could just split that down and burn it, but I think that is going to be a bee hotel. It's already got a hole in it, but we're going to make some more holes. You may have seen designs for bee hotels that consist of a box stuffed with bits of bamboo or other hollow canes or reeds. Those are good, absolutely nothing wrong with those, but this is very much simpler. So I'm just going to drill a variety of different sized holes, not all the way through this thick piece of ash timber here that's untreated. This is from our firewood stack. This next bit, if you've got that aversion to clustered holes, this bit might not be for you. Just saying, this could be your jumping off point. Anyway, securely clamped into my workbench, and away we go. I won't have to worry too much about the sawdust stuck in the holes. The bees can clear that out. Now, question you might be asking is, why don't I just leave the bees to make their own holes? Some species of bees can do that. Others rely on holes that already exist from other things that have made them. So we're kind of helping those species out, more than the ones that are capable of chewing their own hole in wood. I'll now continue with a slightly smaller drill. We'll make some different sized holes so the bees can take their pick. That drill might be in need of a bit of sharpening. The other question you might be thinking of is, didn't I say earlier it was best not to interfere with nature? And isn't this interfering? Yes, but also mostly no. What I'm seeking to do here is not control things, but provide opportunities. I think that'll probably do. I'm just going to drill a hole through the back here on an angle so that I can hang it up with a piece of wire. Yeah, so this is a hefty old chunk of wood, and it will need something to hold it up with. So I'm just going to thread a piece of wire through the back here, like that. Something like that. And create a little loop. Let's go and fix it up. Yeah. Somewhere around about there. So that's my 2 bee hotels. We will check back from time to time in my random stuff series to see if we've got any activity going on in these things. But that won't be for a few months yet. So that was Build a Bee Hotel, weird stuff in a can on atomic shrimp. I hope that's been interesting. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.